Welcome students. Um, Today we are just having a small question regarding nutraceuticals. Especially in the question they have asked only two examples of give nutraceuticals which can be used for um especially for irritable bowel syndrome. Actually, that's why the picture shows the bowel irritation, bowel syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome is very difficult to get most of the time in for us. So for that, if you see what all the nutraceuticals which is available and how it can be applied, that's what they have asked. I have added only two more nutraceuticals. Just they have asked only two, but I have added so that it will be useful and it's a short discussion. And before going to that, we should know what is irritable bowel syndrome, slightly, not going in detail in the pharmacology or in the physiology, but anyhow, just revising what the knowledge which you have. So in that, first we will see irritable bowel syndrome is a functional bowel disorder. It is a functional bowel disorder that features with abdominal pain or discomfort and defecation descript, even emptying the bowel or release the for example defecation will difficulty, blotting, all these things will happen as a syndrome when it is irritable bowel syndrome. So you say it will be painful, burning, gastric formation. It will be difficult for the particular person and to sustain with that pain. So comparing with other GI disorders, the special part of irritable bowel syndrome is that it is commonly associated with psychological conditions like depression, anxiety, somatization, exaggerating the things, psychological feeling. Pain will increase by means of this point. And symptoms, what are the symptoms which we can see in this irritable bowel syndrome? The symptoms may vary from one person to another, but most of them are common, which include the common which we are taking. Sometimes it varies from person to person. Abdominal discomfort or pain, cramping or blotting. Sometimes you feel that not comfortable for going 2-3 times evacuating the bowel. So that can also be, you can see blotting, excess gas, pricking in the chest and pricking in the back, and everywhere you will get sometimes excess gas. Indigestion, feeling something uncomfortable, feeling that we cannot even lie down properly, we cannot sleep. That's also one type of symptoms which you can get. Changes in the pattern of bowel movement. Changes in the pattern of bowel movement when we talk about the internal physiology. Diarrhea may cause and altering with sometimes diarrhea, and after sometimes patient will have constipation because having discomfort. You can see the picture how she's painful and she's just burning in the abdominal. And mucus also you can find sometimes. If it is diarrhea, mucus can be seen in the stool. These are some of the symptoms very common in the irritable bowel syndrome. First we are taking that peppermint leaf, very common. We can write the example, is one of the most common used healing herb for irritable bowel syndrome, and other gastrointestinal conditions. You can see the leaves is available in our home every time we used to take from the market whenever we are going for purchasing any vegetables. So you can make a decoction, we can make extracts by hot water and you can drink, and even nowadays it's available in the market. Peppermint leaves and peppermint oil is also available, but best you can use fresh leaves is best. This plant has anti-spasmodic, carminative and sedative property that control pain and excess gases after being absorbed into the body. To make a refreshing and effective peppermint tea, take a glass of hot water and pour in a few drops of ingestible peppermint essential oil if you have, or you can mix it, or you can add fresh leaves, few leaves of peppermint herb. Immediately the next example, we have gone to that because it's a very short answer, short question. So we need only that much is enough for you to write. And next one you can see about the Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is widely used in baking, in bakeries and breweries for brewing, for fermentation process as an yeast species. Some Saccharomyces strains or Saccharomyces cerevisiae strains are also taken as probiotics aiming to benefit our irritable bowel syndrome symptoms. This is a scanned, enlarged, microscanned picture of Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is well tolerated and reduces abdominal pain and discomfort scores without stool modification. It doesn't make any differences in the stool. This is also one example. It's a nutraceutical or a herbal, it's a natural product which is applicable. And Andrographis paniculata or paniculata. Andrographis paniculata is a plant which is abundantly available in our place, in India especially. In Malayalam, Andrographis paniculata is called as Nilavembu, or it can be called as even Kriyata. Kriyata, you can say. With the flower of Nilavembu, and this is the fruit of that plant Nilavembu. Andrographis paniculata is a plant growing mainly in South and Southern Asia. It has been useful in patients with irritable bowel syndrome or irritable bowel syndrome symptoms. Andrographis complex is a common herb supplement which contain Andrographis, Echiniaceae, calcium acid phosphate, cellulose, hypomellose, hypromellose, silica, sodium starch glycolate, and magnesium stearate. The next one is example for this symptoms or treatment for the irritable bowel syndrome. Bosmelia or boswellic acid, which is obtained from Bosmelia serrata, active component of this Bosmelia serrata. They have demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity by inhibiting the leukotriene synthesis of prostaglandin synthesis. And prostaglandin synthesis, not of, and. So leukotrienes and prostaglandins you might have come across when you are studying about anti-inflammatory drug mechanism of action, or when you are studying about the degranulation of the mast cells when somebody is having inflammation or triple response. That you might have studied in physiology. Just remember, when something is biting, you are getting in the skin or in the tissue redness of the skin, itching and swelling, pain. This all takes place due to the degranulation or to the destruction of the mast cells. And what happens? Immediately it releases leukotrienes, prostaglandin, and even you can see the bradykinin, vasodilator, and histamine also can be produced. So these all the triple response which you are getting when some foreign body bites in your skin or in your muscle or in your body. So, or you might have studied that this externally a foreign body enters means immediately degranulation takes place of the mast cells, and immediately it will release leukotrienes, prostaglandin, bradykinin, all these things you might have studied. So we are talking about the anti-inflammatory problems when they occur, when they have an irritable bowel syndrome. This boswellic acid have a tendency, have the mechanism of action to act on or to inhibit the leukotrienes and the synthesis of prostaglandin synthesis. They are resins obtained from the plant Bosmelia serrata. In Malayalam you can say Kungilium, and it can be called as Indian frankincense. The resins, you can see the resins looks yellowish, sometimes brownish also according to its purity level. Bosmelia serrata gum resin, it's a gum resin, has a long history of traditional and medical use as an anti-inflammatory herb, and has previously been shown to reduce disease activity in people with inflammatory bowel disease. So it has been used traditionally, and also it has been proved for its pharmacological mechanism of action. Bosmelia extracts was as effective as the medications for symptoms such as abdominal pain, altered bowel movements and cramps, but also result in less need for medical attention and lower incidence of side effect. So side effects are lower incidence, which makes the patient to be more comfortable and satisfied with the nutraceuticals or with the herb, which is with the resins which is obtained from the herb Bosmelia serrata or serrata, you can say. Now, that is Curcuma longa, you know, that is manjal. Curcuma longa, which have curcumin, is a type of herb belonging to ginger family, that is rhizome, underground rhizome, which is known for the antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer property and the ability to modulate gut microbiota. That is, there are many microorganisms which is very much needed for our gut, which may be spoiled, which may be eradicated by means of your food, or sometimes some other unwanted bacteria may kill them, may eradicate them. So this supplies that, it increases the ability, it gives the, modify the ability of the gut microbiota, and it helps. It has antioxidant effect, it has anti-inflammatory effect, it has anti-cancer property, it has a huge property for manjal. So you can see that curcuma longa is a very, very important traditional, our own indigenous herb or herbal drug which has more useful. Curcuma longa. The few noteworthy factors that we know play a role in irritable bowel syndrome are as follows. All this will be controlled by this curcumin which is present in curcuma longa. That's what we want to say now. So you see, in irritable bowel syndrome, usually most of the time this will come for the females, you can see, that's why I showed the female picture. Usually they will get these syndromes during menstrual cycle, and sometimes in other forms also it may come. So that's why I am using this traditional preparations and traditional herbs which you know for this, controlling this type of syndromes can be done, or the symptoms can be controlled by this natural herbs which is available in our home. And also you can advise when you are a pharmacist, when you know the things you can give. The knowledge can be transferable. The knowledge can be transferred to another person. You can just give them idea to perform this. So first, what is the symptoms and what is the main difficulty will be seen in the patients? Abnormal muscle pain and contraction in the intestinal walls can be seen in the patient. That can be subsided, that can be cured by curcuma longa. And irritability, irregularity, not irritability, irregularities in your digestive system nerves can also be controlled. The irregularity can be smoothened or controlled by curcuma longa. And inflammation in the intestines from heightening immune system response can also be given support by this curcumin. Changes in the good bacteria in the gut called microflora can also be supported by the curcumin present in curcuma longa. And all the above irritable bowel syndrome or irritable bowel syndrome symptoms can get controlled and relieved by turmeric, that means curcuma longa, curcumin constituent. So this is what I want to give you. This is a very short, and also you can see the pictures I have just added. I don't think you may need my notes or anything, because students are now not much interested in taking the notes or coming to the classes even. But anyhow, if you are interested and if it is helpful, I am happy. Anytime you can ask, I can give you my notes and I can support you. Thank you for attending the class.